Okay, I'm taking this off. Crushes my glasses too much. Anyway, you got the thumbnail anyway. Hat back on now, because my hair is long and I need to get a cut. Alright, so welcome guys to the first pitch of Friday the 13th sequels. So, obviously, to recap, if you haven't seen these pitches before, I did one on Halloween and for the Halloween series, and just recently the Nightmare on Elm Street. So go to the channel and check those out. They'll be under the pitch. If you want to just watch them all, just sit in front of it and just watch them all. You can go to the playlist, which will be listed under pitches. I think it's under pitches, or you'll find it. Anyway. So this is finally got to Friday the 13th, and what a perfect timing, guys, because it is Friday the 13th today. I couldn't have planned that better. I'm glad I didn't start this last week. See, it worked out. So anyway, but yeah, what I did with those ones, guys, was that I did a basically just kind of a what-if scenario. With the Halloween ones, it was very much a what-if scenario of like, what if they did a sequel to this sequel? And here's what I would do with this sequel. And I did that for every Halloween movie, including the remake that Rob Zombie did. The only thing I didn't do was the new trilogy, just because it's too fresh in my mind to really do anything with it. Plus, that was very connected. Whereas some of the other ones were kind of connected for a little bit, and then they got kind of all haywire. Then I decided, well, I liked Freddy Krueger, so let's do the Nightmare on Elm Street one, so I did the same thing there. With those ones, I think with the Halloween ones, it was sort of like, what if we did it today? Whereas Nightmare on Elm Street, it was kind of like, what if they did it then? I think we'll probably keep in the same token here with what if they did it then with these. And by the end of this series, I will probably maybe pitch what I would like to see them do with a Friday the 13th going forward. I know they're doing their prequel series on Peacock, which, could be either really good or really bad, depending. It is from the people who did Hannibal, which was a pretty good series from what I've heard. I've never seen it, but and if it seems like Bates Motel, it could be something really good. Like if you really dig into Pamela Voorhees and stuff like that, could be very good. It depends on who they cast too. Get a good actress with some gravitas. I use the word gravitas. I've been pressing. There I am. I'm umming in this video too. Black Panther video. It's like my brain is processing. I work overnights. It's just what it is. Anyway, back to me. So with this pitch, we will be following the original Friday the 13th movie, which came out in the 80s, early 80s, 81, I believe. Yeah, 2 years after Halloween. Correct. Thanks, Adam, for letting me know. You're welcome, Adam. I just can't stop saying Do I do this in all the videos? I mean, I guess sometimes I but like sometimes you're just like, what was my train of thought? I don't know. It's there. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? Anyway, I'll say that at 2. The first movie obviously focuses on a mystery of who's killing off these campers. You see these campers killed at the beginning. Of course, most of you have seen the movie, but just to give anyone who maybe hasn't, and we discover people are getting killed left and right, and it comes down to this woman shows up named Pamela Voorhees, and she's like, I'm Pamela Voorhees. I used to work at this camp and all that. And today's my son's birthday, Jason. And she, kills the story of everything, and then, goes psycho and tries to kill our main character. And let me tell you, she is super freaking creepy. She was very good in the role. Betsy Palmer was excellent at being creepy. And I think she did the role to get a new car. So it wasn't like some role she saw up. It's like, I need a new car. I'll do the role, sure. And she had that rockin' sweater, too, let me tell you. Rockin' sweater from Betsy Palmer. So at the end of that movie, she chops her head off. Alice, our main character, chops her head off, which is interesting because Alice, I don't know if she was really fully established as your final girl. Like sometimes you watch a horror movie and you're like, okay, this is our final girl. But like she kind of just sort of by default becomes the last one standing. I don't know if that was the plan or if obviously with most of these movies, as I said before, a lot of these guys like Carpenter and Craven and all them, they play in one movie. They was like, yeah, I got a movie and here's what I got. Cool. Oh, you want to do sequels? I didn't want to do sequels. I think we told what we wanted to tell. So anyway, and then we do get a little jump scare where the Jason, who had drowned, of course, as a child, leaps out of the thing and grabs Alice underneath to the water. And then she wakes up, So it's treated like a dream sequence. We didn't find no boy. Um, so, yeah. So that's kind of where we are left off. Now, in part 2, of course, the beginning, Alice gets killed off by Jason. Who we don't know for sure is Jason yet. But we just, somebody kills her off. And we figure out through time who Jason is and all that. So, now obviously the reasoning for that too was that, just a little history, was the actress was being actually stalked by a crazy fan. And it got to be so dangerous that she's like, yeah, I gotta get out of this series right now. For her own personal safety. So, hey, we can respect that. Obviously, would I like to have seen her be like more of the final girl who gets away and all that? Sure, absolutely. I thought she was good. But I think at the same time, it isn't the same as like Freddy or Michael Myers with Laurie Strode or Nancy, because the original killer, she killed. Head chopped off. Betsy Palmer didn't come back and play the role again and continue to be the killer. So Jason kind of takes over as a killer. So in a way, it's like, okay, he kills her, so it's kind of like a revenge thing. Now, I would say the one thing that I would probably do, and obviously I'm not big on prequels, because a lot of times prequels fill in all these details of like, wonder how they got that? Ha! How did he get those dice in Solo? Yeah. Nobody cares. But like, I do think that there is some way, because the one thing you didn't really connect was how the hell Jason is a full-grown adult in this movie, when he had drowned as a child and we saw him pop out of the water, which obviously was a dream sequence and was just a jump scare for the audience. But I think there's some connective tissue we need here. Now, one thing the remake did well was that they kind of showed, he sees her get her head chopped off. Smart thinking. I think that's a good point to do that. But I would say maybe start off very much, maybe start off with that ending. You get a little bit of the clip, because they were big on doing that anyway, where they're like, here's how the last movie ended. You start off with that, and we see the chopping or whatever, and you can kind of see that point of view, very much like they did in the remake. But this is the 80s, so we're doing this. And I would definitely be very, I would let it maybe go over a few days of him kind of trying to find this woman, stalking. But we don't actually, but very much we do the very Halloween view, like from the beginning of Halloween, where it's just that kind of view from the perspective of the killer type thing. So we sort of slowly build to Jason's grown-up reveal. Now, obviously, we can fill in the details that he didn't really drown, or he did survive the drowning, and maybe just, like I said in the remake a little bit. Like I said, I don't want to take too much from the remake, but I did like the remake. But we have to have some connective tissue of why the hell Jason is suddenly alive and a grown man. So, I mean, obviously it had happened many, many years ago, so he would be a grown man if he had survived, but we never understand. And obviously, Mrs. Voorhees didn't know he survived, otherwise she wouldn't be going crazy and killing all these people. At least we would think. So, there's got to be some connective tissue, I feel. And that's something that a lot of those sequels sometimes just kind of wanted the next one, didn't have as much connective tissue other than, hey, here's what happened in the last movie when we were last here on Calf Crystal Lake. But yeah, so that's at least what I would do. I sort of start with a view and lead to that opening kill, but take a little more time with it. Just kind of have him sort of stalking her a little bit, not to play off her real life events, obviously, but have a little slow panning. And then we see her, she gets killed about the same way and all that. I think that's, keep some of that. So this isn't necessarily a retelling of what they're doing. But I am keeping some of the characters that were in the second one, too. Because unlike the other movies, it's there's not really a lot of connective tissue there. Then with Nightmare on Elm Street 2, we had, there was no Nancy, so it wasn't there was connected characters there either. So I think we'll get that. So obviously, most of the characters that got killed would get killed again. So really the only people who survived this movie are Ginny and Paul. Sort of, maybe Paul survives. It's weird about those movies. There's always did they survive? Did he survive? Who knows? I did it again. I said, let's keep count of how many times Adam can go when he's losing his train of thought. So yeah, we start to, hear the tales. We, maybe while they didn't necessarily know Alice, maybe the people at the camp start hearing. They hear about the last survivor of this murder was recently killed. So there's maybe a little bit of fear, like as opposed to just being like, yeah, we're at this place since people died once, oh well, whatever, who cares? It's just a big old campfire still, no one really cares. But I think there should be a level of fear, and I think there was a little bit. But I think, and of course, you have Ralph with his doomed. Who gets killed in the second movie? Why would you kill the soothsayer, Jason? Why? He was trying to warn people not to come here. Well, I guess that's why, so you can kill him. But so obviously, the entire plot point is he's wanting revenge for his mom. But at the same time, he gets revenge for his mom because he kills the person who kills his mom. So it's kind of like, by that point, it's like, why does Jason need to come back? Why does he need to kill these other people? What's his motivation here? What's my motivation? So I think Jason probably had a very messed up childhood. He was a bit, I guess by that standards, he would be special needs when he drowned and stuff. So I always took it as he was a special needs kid. But so he's also very strong. He has that extra strength to him and all that. And I think maybe he's, grown up in the woods, so he's very reserved from growing up in the woods and all that. And very, very lonesome, very, that kind of, I can't think of words today. Lonesome. He's a lonesome fellow there, that Jason Voorhees. So lonesome in the woods. But yeah, you know how if someone's in the woods for a long time by themselves, or not around people, very, I don't want to say lonesome. What's the damn word? My brain is not working today. Probably because I worked overnights. Anyway, a loner. He's a loner. Let's establish. He's a loner. A drifter. A loner. Whatever. So obviously interacting with people. So I think he really just wants peace and quiet. And I think that's really what a lot of his motivation is. He's just like, all right, well, I already killed this other woman who killed my mom and chopped my mama's head off. So I'm going to get that motivation. My motivation is to get them out of Camp Crystal Lake. This is my home. This is where I drowned and it survived somehow. You could tie in the Book of the Dead thing. I know they were talking about doing that. I don't really know if that works though, because Jason's not really a Deadite. He doesn't act like a Deadite does. So like the Deadites are like, I saw. Jason doesn't talk. So that kind of plot point is interesting, but I'm not going to try it in here right now. We're still early in the series before we're jumping into other crossover thingies. So yes, basically Jason, he's still doing the sackhead thing. Like I said, I think the sackhead thing is really just, obviously before he gets his hockey mask. I would still wait on the hockey mask. Because that was kind of a random thing anyway. I would say, the sackhead thing is that he's also very scarred from drowning and stuff, as you would be. Or almost drowning, I guess, because he survives. But yeah, so I think that's what really the sackhead thing is really about. It's this kind of shy, reserved. Reserved is the word I was trying to think of. Yeah. He's very reserved. He doesn't want people to see his face because he's ashamed. Because people used to mock him, obviously, like mocking his face. Oh, look at that Jason Voorhees. Look at that goofy-looking kid. So yeah, there's kind of that. He's got the social anxiety, of course, from that. So I would say that's what kind of the sackhead is. The deep psychological torture that he's been. And his mom's dead now. So it's like, he doesn't have anybody else left in the world. He doesn't have any friends. Jason doesn't have any friends. It's not like he had any friends. They just let him drown. So, yeah, I would say that's kind of his motivation. He's just really, like, I just need to be alone. I'm a loner. I don't want to be with these people. So, yeah. And, yeah, I definitely liked a lot of what they did with Jenny using the head of that. So I wouldn't necessarily change that or anything like that. So this is turning in more of like, I'm just doing the second movie, but changed a little bit. So, yeah, I'm not saying it's the best pitch in the world. But it's one of those things where, at least from the first movie on, it's harder to continue on. Because, like I said, we kill our main character from the first movie right in 10 minutes. So it's a little more difficult to come up with that pitch, I'd say, just because I think the future ones after this, I think will be easier to kind of come together, I think. But, because we can bring characters back. Woo! But yeah, I think for this thing, I would definitely continue to do similar veins of that story. And then Jason can, get taken out. Not really killed. Because I don't think, you think maybe he's dead. But, I don't know if I would have the goofy, weird jump scare with the weird hair through the window thing that they did, though. So it's like, well, we did a jump scare in the last one. Let's do one here, too. Or we could not. Or we could not. So I would cut that shot right there. Because that looks terrible. But yeah, I would definitely make it very alarmed that Ginny's going to get away. Paul can survive too. Why not? And the dog survives too. But you definitely see that Jason, I would say the jump scare would be more that Jason rises up. Like, I wouldn't even have him jump through the window. I would just be like, okay, he's dead. And then you basically just see him. I'd say, like, maybe his mask, his thing is torn. And then he kind of maybe sees himself in the mirror and kind of freaks out and kind of, like, hides it. You know, that type of thing. So, yeah. The third movie will be The Search for a New Mask. Which he will gladly find. Yes, so that'd be my kind of pitch, guys. Not the best pitch in the world. Like I said, it was kind of tough to follow the first one just because you're not continuing with the original killer. You're introducing this other character, which was a difficult thing to do, and they had a hard thing ahead of them. But part 2 was actually pretty good, though, for his introduction and stuff. But that's the only thing. I would just like to have some connective tissue of how he, get into explaining how he was able to survive a drowning and his mom not knowing that he was alive and, seeing all this stuff. But like I said, it would just change a few of the way it was shot, the way the character was presented. Really add that anxiety of like, man, is this guy is someone else out there making these killings? Like make it very much a mystery, very much too, that we're not really sure that it's Jason. Like, people don't know that Jason's back killing people at this point. I think that's why I would definitely play with more, sort of tie along the same mystery of the first movie. Where you think, well, maybe one of these other campers, one of these other campers is maybe really, just like how people become obsessed with serial killers, maybe these people were like, oh man, yeah, that Pamela Voorhees, man, she was a hero of mine. Yeah, go with the female killer idea possibly, not really go with it because Jason's gonna be the killer, but play with those ideas a little bit. That's what I would do to change it up from how they did in the second one. Was just play with those ideas a little bit, but then set it up that Jason ain't dead. And he's going to continue, and he's our killer going forward. That's kind of what we set the motion. So in a lot of ways, this is kind of the first movie in a way, because while we're following what happened before, we're not necessarily continuing with those characters. That killer's dead. That main character's dead. All those people in the first movie are freaking dead. But let me say also, there is still another surviving character, and that is freaking Ted, because Ted stayed at the bar and didn't come back. Ted was smart. You stay in town and get drunk, Ted. So Ted's going to be back, god damn it. He's goofy looking, and he probably didn't get any women, but it's okay. We love you, Ted. We love you. So yeah, that is my pitch for part 2. That would be a little different. Like I said, it wouldn't be the exact same thing. We'd use most of the characters, but... excuse me. We would use most of the characters, but we would, like I said, make it more about the loneliness that Jason feels. And not only like an emotional thing, but like, that kind of loneliness of... He has no one, and now these people are in his home, and I have to kill these people. And yeah, I would say that Jason really much was very ostracized from society. But like I said, play the mystery aspect a little bit again like you did in the first movie. Now going forward, we know it's Jason. So there's not going to be any like suspicion of maybe it's this person. But like for this movie, I think it fits okay. We can work with it. So that's my pitch, guys, for Friday the 13th Part 2, the introduction to Jason, officially as a killer. And we will do more pitches from here that will follow up that movie. And we'll introduce some new characters, but also we have characters that survived this movie. So unlike what they did, these characters could come back. So, I think it could tie in quite well. So I look forward to having more pitches. Whether that's today or tomorrow, I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided if I'm going to do another pitch yet today. But there might be one tomorrow on Saturday the 14th. Tell me what you think, guys. Like I said, I'm not saying it's the best pitch in the world. It's kind of, like I said, this one was kind of a hands tied type of situation. I'm like, how do you do that, But I wanted to give you guys something because it is Friday the 13th. So, happy Friday the 13th, guys. Hope you have a great day and it's not a bad day and you don't get slaughtered at a camp for having sex and doing drugs. So, cool. Guys, have a great day. Like and subscribe, and we'll be back with more pitches. And let me know your thoughts and if there's any other series that you want me to do pitches for, whether it be the Scream series or, Final Destination or whatever. I like those. Those ones are pretty good. Hellraiser, I've only seen 4 movies, so I'll forewarn you on that. I've said that before, but yeah. Child's Play. I think I've seen all the Child's Plays. Yeah, I have. I've seen all the Child's Plays, so maybe I can. But there's only so much you can do with it now. I heard the series is good. I haven't seen it. So anyway, have a good one. I'm just going to stop rambling, guys, and stop saying. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.